Nominees and their families and friends. Senator Padilla and Butler will introduce the nominees from their home state. First, I want to note the fact that we started this hearing. Senator Graham is a conflict in his schedule. We're hoping he'll be able to join us, but they told us to go ahead with the beginning of the hearing. So now we'll have an introduction of our nominees. Senators from California are not here at the moment. We expect them any minute. I just left Senator Padilla in a meeting. But I thank the individuals for joining us. So I'm going to swear in the nominees and be prepared as soon as they arrive. I ask them both to come forward to the witness table. Please raise your right hand. Do you affirm the testimony you're about to give before this committee will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. The record, please be seated. The record will indicate that both answered in the affirmative. I'm going to, at this point, I'm going to recognize you to make your opening statements. You each have 5 minutes. Judge Cheeks, you'll be first.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you to Chairman Durbin, Ranking Member Graham, and members of this committee for convening this hearing. Thank you to the senators from my home state, Senator Padilla and Senator Butler. And thank you, President Biden, for nominating me. This is truly, truly the honor of a lifetime. I also want to thank the people who have joined me here in person to support me. First, my wife of 17 years. She's also been my best friend for 27 years. She is by far the best thing that's ever happened to me. Together we have 2 beautiful boys, aged 6 and 8, and the 3 of them are indeed my reason for living. Also here is my mom. She is my biggest cheerleader and my biggest fan, and she's the person that's glowing, that's right behind me. She raised 3 college-educated kids as a single parent and taught us the value of hard work, determination, and the value of a quality education. I won the lottery with having her as my mom. Also, here's my cousin Anthony. As a military veteran, a police officer for many years, and former police chief, he has been a positive influence on my life in more ways than he knows. The godmother of my kids, Kathleen, is here. She has been in my life for 12 years, and we have shared nearly every major holiday together. You are the family that we chose, Kathleen, and thank you for your years of support. Mladen is here from New York City. I've known Mladen for 20 years, from back when I was in law school here in DC, and he was in graduate school. Thank you, Mladen, for your love and never-ending support. Richard is also here from New York City. Richard and I work together as prosecutors at the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, often discussing case strategy and our love for our jobs. Richard, you are a remarkable man, and I'm lucky to have you in my life. My law clerk, Michelle, is here. Thank you for assisting me in setting up chambers with Alex. I truly appreciate your passion for the law and eagerness to learn and grow. I also want to thank all of my friends and family who are watching this from home, as well as the court family of district judges, magistrate judges, clerks, staff, prosecutors, and defense attorneys in my home district. Your support has been nothing but short of amazing. And lastly, I want to thank my alma mater, American University Washington College of Law, here in DC, for giving me the quality education that started me on my journey to this moment. And with that, I welcome your questions.
Thanks, Judge Meeks. I'm going to let Judge Murillo make an opening statement, and then we'll turn to the California senators.
Thank you, Senator. Chairman Durbin, Ranking Member Graham, and members of the committee, thank you for convening this hearing. I am profoundly grateful and deeply humbled to sit here before you, and I thank President Biden for the honor of this nomination. Thank you also to my home state senators, Senator Padilla and Senator Butler. I'm grateful for the opportunity to thank the community of people whose love and support have sustained me. First, I'd like to thank my husband, Christian, the love of my life and my confidant. Without his support, none of my personal or professional accomplishments could have been achieved. He is the bedrock of our family and an outstanding and loving father to our children. To my children, thank you for being with me here today. You guys make me proud every single day, and you remind me of why your dad and I work to uphold a system of laws that have benefited so many. To my dad, Joe Murillo, his parents, Jesus and Dolores, my aunts and uncles, especially my tia Tencha and my tia Tito, who changed the trajectory of our family's lives by making it possible for my dad to obtain higher education. I'm also grateful to my incredibly resilient and loving mom, Virginia, who is watching from home, and her family. Through their unconditional love and sacrifice, my family instilled in me and my siblings a love of this great country, civic duty, community, charity, and above all, belief in America's promise. I am grateful to my siblings, Tiana and her husband Paul, and my sister Tansy, who are here with me today, and to my other brothers watching from home, my brother Joel, his wife Katie, and their children, my brother Matthew and his mom Diane, and my sister-in-law Monica. I also want to thank the best in-laws anyone could ask for, Eva and Moises. They moved here from Argentina as a nurse and a Christian pastor, and I've appreciated their love and support. Finally, my indelible cousins, who are like my extended brothers and sisters, especially my cousin Annette. They never fail to support my every move, and I love them all. I would also like to thank my best friends, Habib and Andrea, who could not be here today, their children, the Geller family, and their children who are watching from home, and to those friends who traveled here with me today, my college roommate, Michelle, who is celebrating her birthday today, and my friend and former colleagues, Susan and Michael. To the incredible women of my basketball worlds, and to Coach Fellows, thank you for your support and for making me a stronger person. And finally, I would like to thank my friends in the law, specifically Mike Bedart, the McNicholas family, the lawyers of the Los Angeles legal community, my friends in the California Judicial Council, and the many judges and justices across the state of California with whom I have had the honor of working. Last but not least, I wish to thank the extraordinary bench officers with whom I serve on the Los Angeles Superior Court. I could not have asked for a more dedicated group of people with whom to work, and I am humbled by their ongoing commitment to the people that we serve. Together, all of these people, in their own ways, have helped me strive daily to uphold the Constitution and its ideals. I am grateful for this opportunity to thank them, and I welcome your questions.
Thanks, Judge Murillo. I'll recognize Senator Butler.
Thank you, Chair Durbin, and congratulations to our nominees, to their families and friends who are joining them. They don't sit at this table without you, without your support and care. And so we are appreciative for you being here. I want to also thank my colleague and senior senator from California, Senator Padilla, and his staff, and Independent Judicial Committee for bringing forth such great nominees for us to consider. And I excitedly join him in supporting these nominees, and am honored to be able to introduce them to the committee this morning. It's California Day in the Senate Judiciary Committee, and these are incredible nominees representing some of the brightest minds and jurists in our state. We just heard from Judge Murillo, who I will start with, of course, born in Pomona, raised in Chino, and attended undergraduate law school, all in the great state of California. Part of what shaped Judge Murillo's upbringing was competitive basketball, as she noted, as something that she and I have in common. Judge Murillo's father was a longtime women's basketball coach at Chino High School, where the court is named after him due to the number of championships that he won there. While he's not here with us physically today, I'm confident that he would be proud of his daughter who's sitting before us, and how the lessons that he taught her are showing up in her public service. Judge Murillo is joined by friends, colleagues, family, including her husband, Christian, as was noted, their 3 children, her sisters, and her brother-in-law. While in law school, Judge Murillo completed an internship at the district attorney's office in the downtown Los Angeles courthouse, where she now works. Upon graduation, she knew she wanted to return to the LADA's office. In 1996, Judge Murillo was hired as a deputy district attorney, beginning her 17 years of service as a prosecutor. Throughout her prosecutorial career, Judge Murillo worked on a variety of matters, including juvenile criminal cases, felony criminal matters ranging from theft to homicide and white-collar crime, including embezzlement, tax securities, and fraud. Judge Murillo tried approximately 68 cases to verdict in state court, half of which were jury trials. Since 2015, Judge Murillo has served as Superior Court Judge on the Superior Court of California in Los Angeles County. On the bench, she has presided over approximately 55 jury trials in civil, felony, and misdemeanor matters and written thousands of decisions. Of those decisions, none have been reversed with significant criticism by a reviewing court. I think it notable when talented jurists with time-consuming professions still choose to dedicate themselves to mentoring the next generation. Judge Murillo has taught at the University of Southern California School of Law and the University of California Irvine School of Law since 2022 in torts, criminal law, and criminal procedure. It would take much longer, Chair Durbin, than we have time for today to read out the list of awards that Judge Murillo has won, to describe her involvement in her community and share words of praise from her colleagues. I will just conclude by highlighting that in her own words, Judge Murillo describes her values as being influenced by her union member parents and grandparents, who shaped her understanding of hard work, fairness, and community. I'm confident that she possesses the experience and character to serve the Central District well. To Judge Cheeks, who has been nominated to the District Court of Southern California. Today, I know, is such a special moment, and I'd like to welcome Judge Cheeks' wife and mother, who are here with him. As was noted, it does take a village, and thank you for being the village behind Judge Cheeks. Judge Cheeks was born in Albany, Georgia, a Southern man after my own heart, attended the University of Miami for undergraduate, and as was noted, American University Washington College of Law. Judge Cheeks began his legal career as an assistant district attorney in the New York County District Attorney's Office, serving from 2003 to 2010. During that time, Judge Cheeks was assigned to various divisions, including narcotics, immigrant affairs, and appeals. In 2010, Judge Cheeks began serving as an assistant U.S. attorney in San Diego. His primary duty was prosecuting typical border crimes, such as illegal entries, human smuggling, conspiracy to import drugs or guns into the United States. In 2013, Judge Cheeks opened his own law firm dedicated to criminal defense and civil cases. He was appointed to represent many of his over 300 indigent clients by the state of California. Since 2024, Judge Cheeks has served as a U.S. magistrate judge in San Diego. In his tenure, he has demonstrated effective courtroom management, fair treatment of the parties that appear in front of him, and a command of the law that reflects his aptitude and demeanor for the federal bench. Like Judge Murillo, Judge Cheeks has also served as an adjunct professor for a decade at Thomas Jefferson School of Law in San Diego for a year, and then California Western School of Law. I look forward to supporting Judge Cheeks and Judge Murillo's confirmation and would urge my colleagues to do the same. Thank you, Chair Durbin.
Thank you very much, Senator Butler. I'm going to start the questions and note the fact that both of the nominees before us have some similarity in their background. It turns out you both have been professors of law at various times of your life, and also have been prosecutors with some very important cases. It is interesting that we have a number of nominees over the years who have been prosecutors and make great judges. We have had fewer when it comes to the public defense side, but that has been changing. There is at least a movement on one side of this committee to diversify the bench when it comes to that experience. Could you address the basic question, if I am accused of a crime and appear before you as a judge, look at your background and say, this judge has been a prosecutor over and over again. Do I have a chance before this court? What is your response to that if you're the judge sitting and trying to assure the person that justice is going to be followed? Judge Cheeks?
Thank you for the question. I would respond with absolutely there will be a fair shake with anyone that appears in front of my courtroom, regardless of the type of case, particularly if an individual comes in front of me that has been accused of a crime. As you mentioned, I have a prosecutorial background of 10 years prosecuting cases, but on the other hand, I also have 10 years of being a defense attorney. So I know both sides of the criminal justice coin very well, and as a sitting judge, it is my duty to give everyone that comes before me a fair shake, give them an opportunity to be heard, and to apply the law to the facts unbiasedly and with an open mind.
Judge Murillo?
Thank you. Well, I would agree with Judge Cheeks, but I would remind you, Senator, I've been a judge for about almost 10 years. Yes, I was a prosecutor for 17 years before then, but I had a pretty balanced view of my role as a prosecutor, always intending to not only prosecute the cases that I had to the fullest extent of the law, but also balancing that against maintaining the rights of the defendants and also maintaining a healthy respect for the defendants. As a judge, I try to treat everybody in my court with humanity, dignity, and respect. I call everybody by their names. I give everybody a fair opportunity to be heard. I try to be prepared. And I think in the 10 years, I hope that I have conveyed that to the people that appear in my court.
Judge Cheeks, you've written some articles relative to the George Floyd murder and the whole issue of race and criminal justice. Would you like to describe your position to the committee?
Yes, as a defense attorney, I wrote a variety of articles detailing issues with regards to criminal justice issues, race issues, George Floyd. I didn't really take a position in those articles mostly. What I wanted to do was to educate the reader on what was going on, identify the fact that there are some issues or problems going on in the world, and just throw out the question of how can we solve it without actually stating how to solve it, because I don't know how. And I'm very open about my position as an individual, particularly as a black man, and all of my experiences, and I find it helpful, and others have told me that they find it helpful to hear my experiences to help shape the way that they think and the way that they engage in this type of conversation. And so even though it opens myself up a little bit with regards to the experiences that I've had, I found it helpful, and then others have told me that they found it helpful to know that it's happening within the legal community. Sometimes people think that it's far away and it only happens to people that are far away. But I've been told it's been good to know that someone that they know has gone through some experiences.
And you've also addressed the issue of child parenting. Would you like to comment on that?
Yes. I wrote an article about parenting my children who are mixed African American and Hispanic. And I wanted to sort of tell my apprehensions about how I'm going to raise them with regards to how they're going to be able to deal with challenges in life, but particularly challenges because of their skin color, if that were to come. And I wanted to just express some apprehensions about having those difficult conversations with my kids. They're only 6 and 8, and when I should have that conversation. And so I just wanted to express that there are some issues that I'm going to have to speak to my children about that others may not have to.
Right. The famous conversation which parents of minority children have to protect them in situations that others may not face. Judge Murillo, your thoughts on the subject? Microphone.
I'm sorry, Senator, my thoughts on the subject of which portion?
This whole question of minority relationships with our criminal justice system.
I think it's a delicate issue for legislators to try to come up with solutions to address. In my role as a judge, when those issues come before me, I do my best to analyze the facts of each case and the circumstances. And I do that with an awareness of some of the fear and issues that are presented by those cases, and I do my best to resolve them in a way that is fair to all parties.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Senator Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Judge, congratulations. Judge Cheeks, I see you're quite a prolific writer, and you say I heard you answer Senator Durbin's question. You said you don't take a position in these articles?
I said I tried not to take a position in most of my articles.
Well, you didn't succeed. In October 2020, you published an article entitled, "I Can't Breathe." You remember that article?
I do remember that article.
Okay. You were talking about Mr. George Floyd's tragic death. Here's what you said, quote, your words, not mine, quote, "What happened next after Mr. Floyd's death is nothing short of amazing. Mostly peaceful protest broke out almost immediately in Minneapolis, and the use of excessive force by police officers became the villain in a sea of protesters," end quote. Did I read that accurately?
That sounds correct, yes, Senator.
All right, and then in October of 2019, you wrote an article entitled "Raising Responsibility: A Concerned Parent's Perspective." You remember that?
I do remember that, yes.
Did you take a position in that article?
I recall my position being talking about how am I going to address issues with my
So
children.
you did take positions, unlike what you told Senator Durbin.
What I told Senator Durbin that I try not to take positions.
Okay. Well, I want to read you from your article. Quote, your words, not mine. "Needless to say, I have a guarded opinion about the police. How do I teach my sons to respect them and fear them at the same time? There can be no question that police officers have some of these same internal or external biases." Let me repeat that. There can be no question that police officers, not some, all police officers have some of these same internal or external biases described above. Do some of them view black males differently than others? I think so. Sounds like a position to me. Do some think black males are more dangerous than others? I think so. Did I read that correctly?
Yes, you read that correctly.
All right, now, and then in May of 2019, you remember writing an article for a publication, the title of the article, the title of your article in which you say you didn't take a position was called "The Federal Dungeon Part 2, Court Proceedings." You remember that?
I do.
Okay. And you were talking about, it was then under President Trump, not President Biden. The Department of Justice then had a zero tolerance for illegal entry into the United States, because that, of course, is the law. And this is what you said about that. Quote, "Technically, the law was broken, but these particular defendants, poor, hungry, hardworking, and not dangerous, deserve a pass from prosecution." End quote. Saying that illegal immigration should not be criminalized is a position, is it not?
It is. What I'd like to add is that everything that I wrote while I was an advocate, not a sitting judge.
Oh, I see. That makes a difference. Did you mean it when you wrote it?
When I wrote it,
Did you mean it?
I meant it when I wrote it because
Okay, but you don't mean it now?
I do not mean it now.
So if you
Right
take
now.
off your advocate hat today, do you have your advocate hat on today?
I am no longer an advocate. I'm a sitting magistrate
Okay,
judge.
so you don't tell the truth when you're an advocate, but you do when you're not? Is it okay to lie if you're an advocate?
I don't follow the question.
I think it's pretty clear, and I think you follow it. You've taken a lot of radical positions, Judge, and you can't make this cat walk backwards. Now, you can't make this cat walk backwards. I have one question for our second judge here. Judge, you remember a couple years ago, going on a broadcast called Visible Voices Podcast? All right. Here's what you said. It was just a couple years ago. So we're not talking way back in law school or anything. We're talking about a couple years. You'd been on the bench how long? 8 years then?
I've been on the bench almost 10.
Yeah. Well, but when you said this in front of God and country, you'd been on the bench 8. You said it in January 31, 2022. Here's what you said, quote, I think that COVID has brought a lot of these issues to bear, especially in the legal profession, where I tell a lot of people all the time, we, the people, never included people of color or women. When you have an institution that is set up by property-owning white men for 200 years or so, it wasn't geared towards thinking about what would be the best work schedule or how we could really incorporate women with children in this field. So it's been a challenge that COVID was exacerbated, end quote. Did I read that correctly?
Yes, Senator, you did.
And then you go on later in the podcast to call for quotas based on gender, don't you?
No, sir, I never,
Yes, you
ever
do.
claimed
If the
anything
senator
about
will give
quotas.
me time, I'll read what you said. May I finish reading what you said? The witnesses denied believing in quotas based on gender, and I have the quote.
Senator, you may read the quote, and then she will give an opportunity to
Okay,
respond.
here's your quote, Judge. Your words, not mine. Quote, I think recognizing implicit bias is really important. Me too. But I'll be honest, I don't think that's enough. Because the truth of the matter is nobody is going to voluntarily give up their position in favor of women. Women have to demand it. Women have to be willing to require and hold people accountable, hold men who are in those positions accountable, and say, quote, why don't we have an equal number of supervising judges, close quote. You didn't tell me the truth, did you? You believe in quotas based on gender, don't you?
Senator, your time's expired. I'd let the witness respond.
Thank you. No, I have never advocated on behalf of quotas. I think it's undisputed
Well,
that
what
at the
was
time.
this?
Please
I just read it.
continue
I think
to
at the time that the Constitution was written, there is no question that it did not include women, and it did not include people of color in the definition of we the people. We, as women and people of color, have only recently been able to be judges or jurors or politicians. But the systems that were created when I was excluded and when people of color were excluded continue. All I was commenting upon is that the diversity in the judiciary builds integrity in the system and public confidence in those institutions. I never mentioned anything about quota. Thank you.
Good try, Judge.
Senator Butler?
Good try. Good try.
Just one question to both nominees. Chair Durbin, thank you. Judge Cheeks, are you prepared to apply the laws of our country and Constitution fairly and justly if you were nominated?
Absolutely, and I have been doing so as a magistrate judge ever since I took the bench.
And Judge Murillo, same question.
Yes, I agree as well, Senator Butler. Thank you.
Questions, Chair, thank you.
Thank you, Senator Butler. I'm sure you do. Judge Cheeks, how is a magistrate chosen in the federal court?
In federal court, a magistrate is chosen through a merit selection committee of local attorneys. They interview everyone that applied. They choose the top 10 to interview. After they interview the top 10, the top 5 of those go to be interviewed by all of the district judges in the district, and the district judges vote and choose the magistrate judge.
Is that the process you went through?
It is, yes.
I see. And so it is a consensus decision by the sitting judges in your district court?
That's correct, yes.
That's correct. Judge Murillo, you said that you've been on the bench for 10 years,
Yes, Chair Durbin,
and you've had civil and criminal cases before you?
I have.
I see. And I think Senator Butler noted that you've never been reversed by a higher court?
It makes me nervous to say that out loud, and I discovered that going through this process. I did not know that before.
Well, I bring those facts for the record, so it's pretty clear that If you are a radical, as some people suggest, based on a writing that you made years ago, obviously there are other circumstances which gave rise to a consensus decision to give you a magistrate position and give you an opportunity to serve on the bench for 10 years and rule on cases without reversal. So I think that speaks to the basis of your qualifications for the nominations which you seek.
Thank you.
I see no other.
Mr. Chairman,
Senator Kennedy.
thank you. Mr. Chairman, as acting ranking member,
Don't let it go to your
I
head.
love the power. I didn't know what it felt like to be
It's an amazing
to
thing.
have. It is. It's better than sex. I don't know. Not really. This Senate stuff's quite an experience. I'm not going to ask for the prerogative to ask a second round of questions as you just did, but I did want to correct the record. The part where Judge Murillo's calling for quotas based on gender was not a long time ago. It was in January of 2022. Is that correct, Judge?
I'm not certain on the exact date, but I trust you, Senator, if that sounds about right.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
No further business to come before the committee. The Senate Judiciary Committee will stand adjourned. You may receive some written questions from colleagues. I ask you to respond to them promptly. If your nomination is going to be considered this calendar year, we've got to hold to strict deadlines for gathering that information. I thank you and all of your friends and family for joining us today. This meeting of the Senate Judiciary Committee stands adjourned.
Thank you.